So a lot of positives, but it should have been made easier. Listen, if Daley Blind scores with a header at 1-1, my goodness, that could upset the apple cart. But then, as I said, Liverpool I think deserved to win it. Still looked a little uncomfortable when Ajax were on the break, because that's pretty much what Ajax were doing. But in terms of controlling the game, I thought they did that. They got themselves in the box enough times. As I said, 24 shots. Goalkeeper made some saves. Had the finishes been better, then you know the size of the victory would have been comfortable. But at the end of the day, it's a win. It was a solid 90 minutes, and you saw Klopp at the end. You know, he had his hand on his heart with the crowd and kind of saying, right, we're glad to get this one out of the way. So right now, everybody's happy.
Step in the right direction.
Any sort of thing that wasn't a debacle and was so out with the norm for them of recent years was a victory. They just had to get the ball rolling, didn't they? I mean, nothing's coming as easy as it was for them. Not that anything came easy, but things were just like clockwork for them. Their performances, their work rate, the team selection, but everything just seemed to be difficult for them. Even when they're controlling the game, they still look vulnerable. But that's kind of where they are at the moment. You look at the stats. I mean, they were dominant.
Yeah.
But they were always vulnerable to that counter-attack. And Stevie mentioned the Daley Blind header that's scraped by the post. That's kind of where they are at the moment. The one thing I would say, and it's a question I don't know only Klopp could answer, was you're kind of waiting them getting Nunez up to speed. I know he come off the bench. I know Jota played. Jota's also been injured. But I kind of feel that he needs to get him as his main striker, the big signing.
Yeah.
You got Erling Haaland, who's hit the ground running at Manchester City. They're big domestic rivals, and you've got a front three this year that's been a little bit dishevelled, or a lot dishevelled. And you just feel the more game time they can get him and get him up to speed, the better. And that's why I was thinking, you know, particularly at home against the Ajax. Yes, it's the Champions League, I know that, but get him in. Try and get him up and running and build his confidence up. That would be the one thing. I'm sure we'll see it soon, but I think sooner rather than later for me.
Are you surprised he didn't start, Stevie?
Absolutely. When I saw the team, the first thing I did was check the subs to see if Nunez had picked up an injury. So yeah, I'm like Craig. You got to get the guy in, get him playing, get him minutes on the field, and get him in tune with everybody. And until you do that, you won't get the best out of him. And as we all know, he's not the finished article. He's still very raw. But I think what he brings is completely different to what you get from Jota and what you get from Firmino. I think he gives you the two things that they can do. You know, Firmino's really about possession. I think if you can get him holding the ball up and starting to play with Diaz and Salah, that Firmino does, I think he can do that. He just needs to get better at it. And he can score goals. I mean, because that's pretty much what Jota's there for. He's that little guy in the penalty box that's supposed to pop up and put the ball in the net. Because I don't really think he's particularly great when it comes to link-up play or holding the ball up. So you get him on the field and get him in tune with everybody. And if I'm a defender, I do not want to play against him. I'd rather play against Jota or Firmino than play against him. Absolutely every day of the week. So I'm with Craig big time. This guy's not going to get better unless he gets minutes on the field. And I don't think the other two are particularly brilliant. So get him on.
Meanwhile, Salah, of course, has struggled so far this season compared to the high standards that he's set over recent years, Stevie. Took his goal well.
He did take his goal well, eventually, because his first touch was horrible. His first touch went far too much inside towards the defender, but his reaction and his finish was great. He's just having a hard time right now, and sometimes when you're playing, everything is really hard work. You know, we're talking about how everything Liverpool's doing right now seems to be hard work. Well, there's nobody having a harder time than him. You know, even when he's flying, sometimes his touch can be a little off, but everything just seems to be bobbling for him, or his touch takes him too close to a defender, or it goes out of play. You know, everything seems to be really hard work for him. But I'll tell you what, as much as everything seems to be hard work, he's working hard, because he came back in the second half and saved Liverpool from possibly losing a goal. He made a run all the way back into defence, into his own penalty box, and made a challenge that stopped Ajax from possibly scoring. So, listen, you can't fault his attitude, but right now, as I said, it's hard work for him, but he got his goal.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.